A pleasure to meet y'all at last, and welcome back to Nerf Secret Revealed Aftersought. Now, if you remember some episodes ago where I talked about the Modulus Mediator, the Core Blaster mainly, I told you that I was eventually going to come together to bring you along the others that's part of the Mediator, the combiner accessories that formed the Mediator XL. Well, let's bring on one of them for now. That's right, the stock attachment for it, which includes a little sidearm here. A Zombie Strike Double Strike reskin that I just gave it a new name, the Opposer. Well anyways, the Opposer, from what I can already tell, well, it's just a double-barreled Derringer-based blaster with hammer action and spaces for 2 darts. That's it. That's pretty much all you need to know about this blaster. But there's a couple things about this one that seem vaguely different. The hammer action is actually a lot smoother in this variant, despite how there's a little more resistance in here. I guess it could probably justify the amount of power that's situated down here in this little chamber, which is probably where like the air compression takes place. And the plunger tube, I suppose, is like getting pulled back by the hammer, like back here, and then when the hammer lets go, it just thrusts forward. I guess that probably would make sense entirely, so of course the double strikes seem to be the first contender in this Derringer sort of practice, but the Opposer here seems to do better in most places with this same exact design in place, but also with some new functionality put into it. Let's also not forget about a tactical rail. Yeah, this thing has got itself a tactical rail, because what more could you ask for? If you grab the Charshot dart storage holder over here and, well, okay. I guess you can't really click it into place. And I guess that probably has something to do with like how, like, both of these are not really stretched as good, but I guess you can't really click this thing into place. That's probably the problem with this thing. And I guess that probably has to do with this part over here on the top. You can probably see it, but it doesn't really go down as much as some of the others would. Of course, here on the dart storage holder, the spike that comes out the bottom that is supposed to connect to this piece up here, you can probably see it, but watch this. Yeah, it doesn't click into place, apparently. So, yeah. You don't have to take my word for it, but just for the record, there's really not so much I could probably say about this blaster when it comes to trying to put on an accessory of whatever sorts, whether it be a dart storage holder or a scope or something in general. So I guess the Opposer kind of fails in that problem. I mean, you could just put this on and not click it, and apparently the grippers still work. It's that when it try to clip into place, that's kind of where problems start to come around. So that's kind of what that is. But anyways, basically the stock itself that stores the Opposer kind of fits nicely. I mean, it's got this nice little like rubber ended side over here. I mean, it kind of feels like rubber. It's not like squishy like it. It's probably just a really tough sort of PVC with some sort of grippy finish on the outside. I mean, I can't really tell some of these materials themselves. It's mostly plastic, very tough. Like, it could be some of the same sort of polycarbonate that most of these blasters are constructed from, which is to make them incredibly durable, so that way if you drop them or if they fall like to incredible heights, they won't really get damaged much on the outside. Although the paint job might get a little screwed up or like chipped or cracked or something like that. So of course that's another thing to look out for when it comes to handling the blasters themselves. So other than that, there's not much to say here. So, let's just go ahead and install a couple Invisibullets. Let's just see where I can go here with the usage of an Invisibullet integration. Honestly, there's not too much out there that I'd pretty much have left to say. Although, there's a couple parts here on the stock itself that the opposer goes inside with that I probably should mention really quickly. Of course, the grooved pattern on the inside of it supposedly makes it a lot more easier for it to hold on to, especially when it comes to putting the opposer back into it like this. And of course, it's easy to grab out to because of course this area over here is pretty much wide open, so that way you could slide your finger inside of it and then pull it out quickly. But let's also not forget, if you go over to this side, of course the stripe pattern on this side may not be visible so much on this side, but at the same time there's also the dart swords that I've already mentioned in my Mediator review, as well as this belt clip over here. This little money clip sort of thing here is pretty much what you could use if you ever wanted to carry the stock itself around with you and have it act like a holster for the opposer. I guess it makes sense, yeah. There's a lot of functionality when it comes to modulus blasters because you can use them in a lot of different ways that not many of us thought was possible when it came to toy blasters that are in tons of different colors, but also a lot of different sorts of like patterns and all that good stuff. But let's also not forget that aside from all that, the opposer is probably like one of my favorite hammer action blasters ever. It may not be some things like the Negotiator or the Lawbringer or even the Alpha Strike Harpy, but of course the opposer certainly has a big place in my collection, specifically for its usage of being a double strike reskin, but also as a new generation of the usage of the famous Derringer design from way back in the day. But now, I feel like it might be time for me to move on to some others. So if you want to see more, go down to my channel. Make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.